I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. A heat wave in Europe demonstrates the climate disaster the planet is facing. A huge fine for Facebook, but $5 billion is pocket change for them. Hours and hours of Mueller time in the US. What did we learn? Very little. And what can this baby flamingo teach us? We'll tell you in Animals Doing Stuff. Now, top of our newsfeed, it's like 40 degrees in London and elsewhere, and that is really, really unusual. But it's been a desert hot like this in Europe and parts of the continent all summer, and that has lots of people very worried. It should not be this hot in these places at this time of year, or any time of year really. And here's something which is cause for pause. The changing of the climate has not been this quick or severe ever before.
Europe's latest heatwave has seen record-breaking high temperatures in Germany, Belgium and the Netherlands.
It's so hot outside, the weather folks have run out of colors, so they're just reusing purple.
This after the globe's hottest June on record. And with July following suit, officials around Europe say it's only going to get hotter.
We currently have 80 departments with an orange heatwave warning, the same as was reached during the last heatwave in June, so it's exceptional. And what is notable is that those records were broken on Tuesday in the west. We reached 41 degrees in Bordeaux and Châteauroux, absolute records for any month of the year, 40 degrees in Angers, in towns where we hadn't seen this before, such as Rennes, Tours and Blois.
The heatwave comes as scientists say current global heating is exceeding trends of the past 2,000 years and is happening at a higher rate than previously thought. So do these heatwaves confirm their findings? Linking one climate event to global warming is complicated. This heatwave is caused by what's called an omega block. That's when high pressure blocks and diverts the jet stream, allowing hot air to flow up from northern Africa and the Iberian Peninsula. Extreme weather like heat waves occur naturally, but experts say these events will happen more often because of the current climate crisis. A German climatology institute says Europe's 5 hottest summers since 1500 have all been in the 21st century. And what makes this period of warming ominously unique is it's happening on a global scale. Previous events, such as the mini ice ages, occurred in the 15th century in the Pacific and the 17th century in Europe. Today's warming, by contrast, impacts most of the world. Records show that the Earth's average temperature has increased by about 1 degree since industrialization. This directly contradicts climate skeptics who claim global heating is a naturally occurring phenomenon. These scientists say they didn't set out to prove humans were behind global heating. But their findings indicate we're a chief influence on the climate crisis.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other things that we saw on social media. At least 8 people have been killed in Bangladesh after rumors spread on social that children were being abducted. Now, one of those killed is Taslima Begum. She was 42 and had 2 children. And what makes this story even sadder is that the rumor just makes no sense. It claims that the abductions were happening to collect blood and heads for the building of a bridge in the capital, Dhaka. Weeks of protests in Puerto Rico have had their desired effect. The governor will resign. Ricardo Rossello had been hanging on despite leaks of messages that he had sent mocking people on the island who were still trying to recover from Hurricane Maria. CNN report that the governor and his top aides exchanged profanity-laced, homophobic and misogynistic messages about fellow politicians, celebrities and others in a scandal that people in Puerto Rico have been calling WikiLeaks. The new Prime Minister of Britain, Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson, had his car blocked by climate demonstrators as he was on his way to meet the Queen yesterday. Police quickly cleared the demonstrators. And Ilhan Omar went viral again a few days ago at a conference on Muslims in politics in Washington. She was asked to condemn female genital mutilation and gave this response.
Second question is an appalling question because I always feel like there are bills that we vote on, bills we sponsor, many statements we put out, and then we're in a panel like this, and the question is posed, could you and Rashida do this? And it's like, how often should I make a schedule? Like, does this need to be on repeat every 5 minutes? Should I be like, so today I forgot to condemn Al-Qaeda. So here's the Al-Qaeda one. Today I forgot to condemn FGM. So here it goes. Today I forgot to condemn Hamas. So here it goes.
Well, Facebook have been fined a huge amount of money, $5 billion. But for a company that made $55 billion last year, will they even notice?
Facebook has been fined $5 billion for failing to protect the personal information of 2.3 billion users. It's believed to be the biggest ever fine issued by the US Federal Trade Commission, also known as the FTC. They've been proving allegations that Cambridge Analytica, the now defunct data company and political consultancy, gathered the information of 87 million users without their permission. The data was said to be used by the Trump campaign in the 2016 US elections. Facebook were gathering data on our appearance too. The FTC also found that an optional facial recognition tool was turned on by default.
This settlement is the result of an exhaustive investigation, which concluded that Facebook betrayed the trust of its users and deceived them about their ability to control their personal information.
Facebook is not admitting guilt, but is willing to face a 20-year government oversight and is creating a new privacy company. Mark Zuckerberg says he will give regular updates.
Privacy is more central than ever to our vision for the future, and we're going to change the way that we operate across the whole company, from the leadership down and the ground up. We're going to change how we build products, and if we don't, then we're going to be held accountable for it.
Facebook is the first Silicon Valley company to have privacy requirements imposed on it, and critics say they got off easy, as it's only about a month's worth of revenue for Facebook.
Would it have been nice to get more? To get 10 billion instead of 5 billion, for example? To get greater restrictions on how Facebook collects, uses, and shares data? To the extent people object to our settlement because it does not have terms like these, we did not have those options. The only real-world choice here was to take a historic settlement that provides immediate and important protection to American consumers, or wait for years to get far less relief.
But they're not out of the woods just yet. The FTC is opening a separate investigation into antitrust practices across the tech industry that examines whether tech companies are unlawfully stifling competition. So is this settlement merely symbolic, or a step to making social media a safer place for all?
And staying in the US, there was an epic hearing yesterday with Robert Mueller. Now, he was the man chosen to investigate how far President Trump colluded with people from Russia during the election of 2016 and how much President Trump then tried to stop the extent of that collusion becoming known. And after very nearly 10 hours, very little became clear, apart from the fact that the president can be charged when he leaves office, which we knew anyway.
The 448-page report should have made Special Counsel Robert Mueller's conclusions on Trump and Russia clear. But politicians wanted to make it clearer. So they made him sit for 7 hours and were mainly told,
that's what it says in the report, yes. And I stand behind the report. Would generally agree with that. Sounds generally accurate.
So, Democrats didn't get the moment which said the president should be impeached. And Republicans didn't get a moment which said he was innocent of all allegations.
What he's doing is not obstructing justice. He is pursuing justice. And the fact that you ran it out 2 years means you perpetuated injustice.
I take your
Gentleman's time has expired.
Mueller previously said he did not want or need to testify, even though there were moments when he sidestepped or struggled to answer questions. He pretty much stuck to script.
The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government.
His performance, or arguably the lack of it, was a focal point for discussions online. One tweeter thought Mueller's abruptness worked in the Democrats' favor. Another thought the facts of the case overshadowed Mueller's performance. Unsurprisingly, Trump did not seem to think so.
There was no defense of what Robert Mueller was trying to defend, in all fairness to Robert Mueller. Whether his performance was a bad one or a good one, I think everybody understands that.
After insisting he wouldn't watch the hearing, Trump tweeted several times about it on Tuesday. This investigation may have come with much fanfare, but it looks like nothing much has changed. Anything out of the ordinary had more to do with this image. At a summit hosted by conservative group Turning Point USA, the president stood before what appears to be the US presidential seal. Observers say it looked more like Russia's coat of arms. The eagle has two heads instead of one, and instead of holding arrows, it's holding golf clubs. Clearly, it was reworked to shame the president, but how this happened remains a mystery. Make of it what you will.
To Iraq now, where there is an acute water crisis in the city of Basra. Let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Thursday. Some diplomats from America who were working in Cuba reported feeling dizzy and nauseous and unable to concentrate a year or so ago. The US government blamed Cuba and accused that government of using a sonic weapon. The US have released a report which says it confirms their suspicions a sonic weapon was used. The Cuban government dispute the findings. Canadian diplomats also reported similar symptoms at the time as the Americans, but their government said a sonic weapon was not to blame. The rapper A$AP Rocky, real name Rakim Myers, has been charged with assault causing actual bodily harm in Sweden. He will stay in prison there, where he's been since the 3rd of July. He's being charged over this incident. That's him in the white hoodie. He said he got into a fight in self-defense. A glacier in Iceland is officially gone, and now a plaque will memorialize it and be a marker for future generations. The plaque is where the Okojul, or OK Glacier, used to be. It reads, in part, in the next 200 years, all our glaciers are expected to follow the same path. This monument is to acknowledge that we know what is happening and what needs to be done. Only you know if we did it. And the hubris of humanity was on display in the channel. A man called Frankie Zapata, who was trying to sell that hoverboard thing to militaries around the world, has failed in his attempt to cross the channel. Oh well. And in animals doing stuff, we have some viral video of a little baby flamingo making a stand. Now, 2.5 million people have watched this little thing, and it's being viewed as a wonderful little life lesson, like we're all baby flamingos in a way. All of us learning to stand on one leg, all doing what we can to find balance, all of us looking to those who came before us to learn something and not repeat the mistakes of the past. Okay, I think that is enough philosophizing about a baby flamingo. Maybe it's just a cute video. And that will do from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. You can subscribe to that channel if you like. Follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe, and I'll see you again tomorrow.